Welcome back to the California Zephyr Adventure. We're on our way home to Chicago from Salt Lake City, and we're currently climbing down the Wasatch Mountains, heading toward the desert of southern Utah. If you missed the previous 5 parts, be sure to check them out. While we may be heading toward southern Utah, the current scenery looks like anything but desert. There's quite a bit of snow falling here on the east side of the Wasatch Mountains. As you may recall from the previous part, the train is several hours late. We were supposed to board in Salt Lake City at about 3 or 3:30 in the morning, and the sun was up by the time we actually boarded. That's okay for us. We got to sleep a little longer, and we don't have a deadline we need to get home by. And we'd certainly rather see this beautiful scenery in the daytime, rather than sleeping through it. That said, though, hopefully the train will make up some time before we get home. Only time will tell. But our destination is still a long way away, so in the meantime we'll lean back in our sightseer lounge chair and watch the snow and the mountains go by. Coming up ahead on our left is the famous Castle Gate, a rock formation that looks like the tower of a castle. Originally, there were 2 such towers, one on each side of the canyon, making for a very dramatic sight. You can still see that in old pictures of the location, usually with a train running between the 2 towers. When the highway was built, though, they decided it was too expensive to build a bridge over the tracks between the towers, and so they simply destroyed one of them to build the road through. At the bottom of the canyon, we find the small town of Helper, Utah. We were supposed to be having breakfast around here, but we're having lunch instead. The name Helper comes from the Helper engines the railroad would keep there to help bring heavy trains up and over the mountains. Many extra engines for just this purpose can still be seen in the train yard in Helper.
On his roof, shoveling it off.
I think he could use a roof rake.
Well, he has a very flat roof.
Ah, that makes sense then. Not far beyond Helper, the white snowscape gives way to a red sandscape. Welcome to, well, not much. There's not much of anything here except the railroad until we get to Green River. This is, of course, the same desert we passed through on the first part of the trip, heading to Salt Lake City. So I honestly didn't take that much video of it on the way back. So let's skip ahead to the highlight of the Red Desert, Ruby Horse Thief Canyon. Yes, I know, we saw this on the way to Salt Lake City as well. But it sure looks different now with a layer of snow over it. We had our stretch of sandy desert, and now we're back to winter in Colorado. Just cut in that cliff there.
Mm-hmm. Impressive layers of rock and snow and trees here.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you say the Utah, Colorado line was?
On the other side. We're probably past it by now. Yeah, probably. I glimpsed it on the other direction. I was thinking, looked at my map and thought, oh, that's probably soon. So I looked over the other side of the car and there it went.
Ah.
What we're talking about are the markings on the canyon wall that show the state line between Utah and Colorado. As we leave the canyon, we're approaching Grand Junction, Colorado. Unfortunately, someone else is approaching Grand Junction, Colorado, and they're getting there first. the westbound Zephyr. There's apparently only one platform at the station, and no siding very near it. So we stop on the siding just on the edge of Grand Junction and wait for it to pass before we come into town. Fresh air break, and a good chance to stretch our legs. Quickly. We've got a schedule to catch up to, so we're not stopping any longer than necessary. Soon we're back on board and rolling through the large train yard in Grand Junction, and past a long line of GP15s and SD70s in storage. The sun is getting low, so it looks like we won't be able to see the Rocky Mountains in daylight as we cross over to Denver. Oh well, we saw them on the way to Salt Lake. Tomorrow morning we'll, hopefully, be in Nebraska, and then it's just a race across the plains and the cornfields until we get to Chicago. That sounds like a great opportunity to catch up to the schedule, right? Right? Tune in next time to find out. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the series so far. If you did, check out the rest of the channel for more railroad videos, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss the rest of the adventure. Thanks for joining me on board the California Zephyr. See you in the morning!